Hi everyone, I'm Daniel Philip Cheruthur of St. Joseph's College of Law. In Karnataka, renting a property is governed by laws designed to protect both tenants and landlords. One of key piece of legislation in this regard is the Karnataka Rent Control Act. But what does this act entail and how does it affect the rental agreement? Application of this act. The Karnataka Rent Control Act applies to residential and commercial properties in urban areas, regulating rent, eviction, and tenancy dispute. It does not cover agricultural land, government properties, or specific commercial establishment. The Act protects tenants from unfair rent hikes and eviction while safeguarding landlord rights. Overview of the Act. The Karnataka Rent Control Act was enacted to regulate rent, tenancy terms, and eviction process. Its primary aim is to strike a balance between the rights of tenants and landlords, ensuring a fairness in the rental housing market. Does your landlord keep increasing the rent arbitrarily every year? Can he or she do that as per law? Under this act, landlords cannot arbitrarily increase the rent. Rent can be only increased based on a formula defined by the law. Rent can be generally increased maximum of 5% per year on the existing rent. For commercial properties, the lease agreement typically governs rent increase if the agreement specifies how the rent can be increased, such as fixed percent increase or market-based adjustment. Those terms apply. In absence of such terms, rent may be increased on market condition, the mutual consent between the landlord and tenant, considering the market rates, the property condition, and other factors. This means tenants are protected from sudden and excessive rent hikes. Tenancy agreement. The Act requires a written rental agreement between the landlord and the tenant. This agreement must specify the terms, including the rent, duration of the lease, and other conditions. This transparency helps avoid dispute between both the parties. Eviction process. Eviction of the tenant can only occur under specific circumstances, such as non-payment of rent or if the landlord needs the property for personal use. However, the eviction process must be legally justified and cannot happen without proper notice and approval of the Rent Control Court. The Act provides a safeguard against arbitrary eviction. The landlord must serve a written notice to the tenant before filing for eviction. The notice should clearly specify the reason for eviction and provide the tenant a specific time, usually 15 days or as per the agreement, to vacate the premises or remedy the issue, such as pay overdue rent. Rent protection. Tenants are also protected against harassment and illegal eviction. They have the right to approach a rent control court in case of dispute over rent, repairs, or eviction. This court has the authority to issue orders and ensure both parties comply with the terms of the Act. Here are some cases related to the Karnataka Rent Control Act. K.R. Srinivasa vs. S.K. Babu, 2007. In this case, the High Court emphasized the importance of adhering to the statutory eviction provisions under the Karnataka Rent Control Act. The court ruled that a landlord could seek eviction of a tenant only under specific grounds mentioned in the Act, and the tenant possession could not be disturbed unless proper legal grounds were established. Bangalore Development Authority vs. S.K. Nanjappa, 2005. This case dealt with the interpretation of provision related to the occupation under the Karnataka Rent Control Act. The Karnataka High Court held that the tenant's rights are protected under the Karnataka Rent Control Act, even if the tenant is occupying the premises without a written lease agreement, provided the tenant has paid rent and landlord has accepted the payment. V. Narayanappa vs. P. Venkataramaya, 2010. In this case, the court clarified the landlord's right to increase rent. The High Court ruled that the landlord can only increase rent according to the stipulation under the Act, and landlord cannot unilaterally increase rent without following the legal procedure. In summary, the Rent Control Act ensures a fair rental system that protects the rights of tenants and landlords by regulating rent increase, ensuring clear agreement, and providing a legal framework for eviction and dispute. It aims to create a stable and equitable rent market in the state. Thank you. For more such videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.